everyone, I'm Lakes05, and today we're back in the Tomato Galaxy, except for today we're in the day hemisphere, and our query comes from Seamy Bro, who asks how to do random position. He was watching our old video from almost 2 years ago. The code blocks aren't there because they've changed the names of a few of them, and there's a much better way to do it, which is why I've brought us here to the Tomato Galaxy, because in here we have a scavenger hunt where you go and find these 4 items that are randomly placed. Each item has a list of locations that it can be hidden in, and then you grab this backpack where you can place the items into the backpack, and as you find them, they get checked off here. Now today we're just going to look at the really basic component of hiding items in random locations. The rest of this, you're going to have to ask in the comments if you want to learn more about how we did that. But as we look around, you'll find, look at, here's the shoes, and there's like 9 or so locations for the shoes, and you'll look around every so often, you'll find something. Honestly, I don't even know all the locations, but it's so much fun, so let's go ahead and head right into build mode and take a look at how this was done. Stop the world. Now, as we come above the world, you'll note we have a scripting corner up here where you'll find all of the items, including the reward for solving the quest of getting all the items. And there's lots of little scripts. And so one of the principles that we're starting to teach here at Vidyuu is this idea that you have multiple scripts for each piece. So the backpack has its own script. There's a script for each of the items and just different parts. So the spot that the item is at, the item itself. And so this was actually done by Dimster. So shout out to Dimster who did the scripting on this specific one. We're going to go ahead and start by going into our menu and building the script. We'll then attach it to some items and show you how it works. I'm going to give this a good name as always. So we'll call this one Random Hider. It's an okay name. We're going to go with it. So what we need to do is create some locations. So we're going to go to our variables tab and create a new variable. Now, positions in a world are known as vectors because they're X, Y, and Z coordinates. And that's what a vector is. It's an X, Y, and Z value. So we're going to go ahead and call this positions. And then we're going to go ahead and click this list option and click confirm. Now, if you wanted to, you could go into this button here and add new items manually, typing in the position for each of the hiding positions. And that will make this script a lot easier. It's going to cut some out, but we're going to go take this a step further. Now, I do want to take it an additional step further and also store the rotation position. So we're going to go create a new rotation variable that's also a list. And this one's going to be called rotations. All right, there we have our rotations list. So now that we have both of those, and you'll note you could have also typed in rotations as well, but we're going to create an event that adds items to this list. So going to the events tab, we can say when event is received, and we'll call this event add position. We'll click confirm. And now when add position is received, it's going to receive with 2 new parameters. So we'll drop down and select vector and type in POS for position. It's important that these don't have the exact same name as our variables. That's why I'm going with these kind of shorter variants. And rotation is another variable that we'll receive as a parameter, and we'll call that one rot. Click confirm. You can now see there's a vector and a rotation being received in this event. And I'll show you how we can get that value and that information here in just a moment. So when add position is received, what we need to do is go to our operators tab, scroll all the way down to the list section where we're going to add to list. And we're going to bring over 2 of these to the left side. And the values we're adding are the position value and the rotation value. We'll then go to the variables tab and bring over the respective variable lists. There we go. So now we've added these items to the list. So you can imagine having like 20 hiding spots and they all get added to this list. But you may be asking, how do I get these values onto this script and where do they come from? And so that is where we're going to bring up a couple cool tricks that we've been using recently. We've been using these sound recorder gizmos actually for our positions. And what we'll do is we'll scale them to be the size of our object. So if it's like the cell phone, for instance, we'll come down here and make it the exact same size. We also want to make sure that the orientation matches. So you'll notice the Y was on top here. And this one also has the Y on top. It's also got X minus, X plus, which we can see is the reverse of this. And so I'd want to flip this like that. And then that is going to be in the same orientation. We would also go and snap it so that it's actually the exact same size. And this is important so that when you hide this, that it gets exactly where you're expecting it to be hidden. So now we've got a sound recorder gizmo that is set up to be the exact size of our cell phone that we could potentially be hiding. And for our example, I'll actually just go duplicate a copy of this cell phone so that we can see that in action. And then what we're going to want to do is, since there was a script already running on this, I just need to remove this script. And there we go. So this is the item that we'll be hiding today. This is the position that it'll be hit at. And so we actually need another script for this object to reference as a position. Now, the reason we're using sound recorder gizmos is because unless you record sound into them, they don't take up any sound capacity. And because they aren't a visual effect or they don't have any geometry, they don't take up any other capacity. So when you're looking at that capacity meter, the only thing it's taking up is a singular item on the objects list. So it's not going to put us over on our sounds, geo, or simulation and animation. The only thing you got to worry about is how many of these you have, because they do take up one object and you can have up to 3,000 objects in your world. But quite often, you're actually going to use up your geometric first. So you're going to have plenty of room to put as many hiding spots as you want, which is really cool. All right, then going back to the build tab, back to gizmos, we're going to go grab a script gizmo. And we're going to quickly note that this is the add position and it goes vector rotation. So opening up our script, I'm going to quickly remember that by going down to events and grab send event to object, drop it over here, and then drop down, it's called add position. And then we're sending that not to self, but it's coming with two variables, which are vector and then rotation. So let's start by going to the variables tab, creating a new variable object called controller. Go ahead and click confirm. So this is the object we're going to send this event to. Previously, it's set to default of self, but we want to send this externally to a different object, so we send it to the controller. And the values we're going to get from the operators tab under the object section. So we got position of object, which will go into the first slot, and we'll grab rotation of object for that second slot. And this is of self, which we can grab from the values tab at the very top of value input. So just drag that into both of those pill slots there. And now when world is started, we send add position to the controller with the position of self and the rotation of self. And then we just want to call this like hiding position. So we'll call this hide position. There's two scripts, so I'm kind of like trying to make sure this one is unique and it's not as obvious as that one. Okay, so we got hide position, which because it's a subscript, like it's a, I kind of consider this like a child script of this main script. So I put it on top and build this little stack. I think it's cute. And so then we'll open up the sound recorder gizmo position and drop down and select the hide position script. Booyah, there's our hide position. Now it does need a reference to our controller. We're going to make our controller also a sound recorder gizmo so that it doesn't take up any more capacity. We'll stick this on top of here. And then we can open this up and we need to make sure to attach the random hider script. So let's go find that real quick. Random hider, there we go. And then on this script here, you can see there's an empty pill slot for the controller. So we'll grab from this empty pill and drag this up to this pill. You'll note that you can also grab from this pill and drag it down to the slot there. So it goes both ways. And sometimes you have to do it twice. There's a little bug going around. Hopefully that'll get fixed sooner than later. User voice. I should go there sometime. So anyway, we've got that linked in, which is super great. And what's nice is once this is linked in, the scripts stay attached and so do the references. So you can just duplicate this into all of the positions that you want to have as hiding spots. And to show that, I'm just going to do a little bit of this. And that is going to choose one of those positions at random. We just need to set it up to do that. So back on our random hider script, we need to figure out when this is going to happen. Now we note that add position happens the frame after world is started. So this is all happening very, very fast. And then if we go to our variables tab, we need to create a reference for that object, which is the cell phone. So we'll call this cell and click confirm. So this is the object we want to hide. But when do we hide it? We need to hide it after this add position. So I'm going to send an event on world start that happens 1 second after this all has been received. So we go to our events tab. We're going to grab send event with delay, put that into when world is started, and we should name this event. And it's usually nice to name this event under here. So we grab when event is received, put that below add position, and this is going to be called hide. So we'll just go call this HIDE and confirm. And now that we've got hide here, we can say send hide to self, which will now be in the dropdown. And there it is. So now we send hide to self after 1 second. And when hide is received, we need to move to one of these positions at random. But we need to know which position. So we go to the variables tab and create a new number variable called hiding spot. Now this is a number variable, so we've got that saved. And we can set it by going to the values tab, grabbing set to, and then we can grab that variable again, putting it onto the left side. And so we need to set hiding spot to a random value that's in this list. So it's got to be within this list, which means if we go to our operators tab and scroll up to the random number section, you'll notice there's a few options, but we want to make sure to choose the one in the middle, random number. If you choose random number with decimals, you're going to get an error, but if you use random number, it's going to be an integer, which means it's a whole value between 0, and then we need to put length of list in here. So back under the list section, you're going to find length of list, which we'll put onto the right side. And then the list can be either the position or rotation list. So just for ease, I'm going to grab this one here, and then thumb sticking to the right, it's going to duplicate into that spot. Now it's important to note that 0 is a value that it could be 0. The length of the list might be 1, 2, 5, 8. So there's 8 positions. So this is going to say between 0 and 8. But the highest index is 7. But that's okay because with random integer, it excludes the highest value of 8. It'll never be 8. It'll always be max of 7. So the last number isn't included in the options for what it could be. So that works out perfect. And now that we've set the hiding spot, now we need to move to the position and rotation. So we're going to go to the motion tab, grab move to and rotate to. And what are we moving? We're moving that cell phone. So we're going to drag that over. And again, I'm going to thumbstick to the right to duplicate it into both of these spots. Then when I let go, it disappears. And then the position and rotation are items in a list. So if we go back to the operators tab under list, we can get item from list, dropping that over here, thumbsticking to the right again to duplicate. And then we're going to grab the positions for the top and the rotations for the bottom, because this is move and this is rotate. And then the number is that hiding spot value, because that's the index at which we're going to hide it in. And now the only thing left to do is to open up the properties panel of this. You'll see there's a new empty pill slot for the cell phone. We'll open that up, dragging that pill into here. Now when we hit play world, it's going to hide in one of those positions. Okay, so it's hidden so well we can't even see it. But if I put my head into, oh, I can see it sticking out of this one. There it is. There's the cell phone hiding right in here. And just to show that it works, we'll go ahead and do that one more time. So we'll go ahead and hit play again. And we're going to see that it has hidden itself in here. There it is. So there is our cell phone. It's going to random positions, which is so fabulous. Now, what we need to do next is consider, what if you have a lot of items, and what if they all, so first of all, my personal preference is to make this setup for each item, so that each item has its own set of locations that it can hide in, and that is what we did over here. But say all your items are about the same size and you want to just move them into all of these positions, right? So it's just choosing one of those positions at random, and you don't want there to be 2 items there at the same time. So in that case, what you're going to want to do is run another script on the phone itself. And so let's go ahead and create one more script. But what I want to note before we do that is recognize that we have this event called hide. So we want to make sure we're sending hide to the controller. So let's go create another event. In fact, I think we can just duplicate the hide position script because it's so similar to what we're doing. I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit, and I'm going to move this guy up and then bring this to the top of our stack. Yep, there we go. Okay, so then we're going to come into here. And so this is going to work very similar, and this is going to be called the hide me script, because we're going to hide whatever this item is. So instead of sending add position, it's going to send a different event to the controller. And so I'm going to delete this and just kind of redo this all over again so you can see it one more time. So we're going to grab send event to object, but it does need to happen with a delay. So remember, it takes a second before we can actually send this event. So we'll grab send event with delay of 1 second. We're going to send the hide event to the controller. So we're going to go down to hide. And then we need to replace self with that controller variable, which was already created for us, which is why we duplicated the script. And then what we need to include in the parameter is self. We're going to go to the values tab over here, grab the self pill, and put that into the new parameter slot. And now that we're sending hide to the controller with self, we can now hide self in one of those positions. And so we'll go ahead and close out of this. And then back over here on our random hider, we're going to delete the cell phone variable. And therefore, we're only going to receive values via the hide. So we'll go ahead and click new parameter, drop down, select object, and call this hider? Yeah, we're going to call this object hider. And then we can drag that into the move to position over here. Now, what's interesting about this is we want to make sure there's no overlap so they don't end up in the same position. Now, to do that, we need to remove these items from the list after we've used them, which happens to be another code block under the list section. So we'll go ahead and grab remove item at index from list. We're going to duplicate 2 of these down here, so thumbsticking to the right. And then we're also going to duplicate in the positions list, the rotation list, and this hiding spot number. So what this is going to do is it's going to remove that position from the list every time we hide an object. So as long as you have less objects than you have hiding positions, this is going to work great. Now you could stop there, but you might consider resetting at a future point, and I want to just quickly show you how you can reset. And so to reset, we need to have another set of list variables, which is going to contain the master list. So this is going to be called position master. There we go. So we got position master and confirm, and then we're going to do another one, which is going to be the rotation master. So go ahead and make sure to click the list variable and confirm. There we go. So we've got these two master scripts. And to make sure that these are identical to this one, what we'll do is go to the values tab and grab set2, dragging that into the add position and duplicating two sets of these. And what we're going to be setting is this rotation master and the position master to the list over here. So we can just duplicate this positions list and this rotations list, and it'll now make these identical. You could also duplicate the add. There's definitely multiple ways to do this. So you could have 4 adds and just add it to all of them. But now we've got a separate list that won't have the items being removed from it. So at a certain point in the future, you can do this exact same thing where you set the position, so the inverse of this, right? So you set positions to be position master, and now it's reset this. And so you're going to want to create a separate event. I'd recommend sending it with like a trigger. So similar to how we've been sending events to this controller, you could send an event from a trigger enter that resets all of the positions. And then you'd also need another controller that would send events to these other objects to get hidden, but it's definitely something you could do with everything you've seen in this video today. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. I think we're done. We just need to do a couple quick little housekeeping items to make this work, which is number one, we need to attach the script to our cell phone over here. So we're going to go and attach the hide me script, and then we need to create a few different items. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate this cell phone, but I'm going to make it thicker so it pops out. In fact, I'm going to do the same thing here so it pops out of this so we can see it in build mode. But I'm going to make this one maybe wider. Such a bad cell phone. Oh, man. Oh, that's so bad. So we're just going to make a few of these. And so as long as there's less items than there are positions, this is going to work. And we're at capacity. So let's go ahead and hit play, and we'll see these 4 items get hidden in 1 second. I might have made a mistake. Looks like I might have made a mistake. Oh, I forgot to reference the controller on all of these. Okay, that's an easy mistake. Let's go quickly do that. That'll only take a second. Opening the properties panel over here, we'll then drag these pills over into here. There we go. Oh, and I got to do that 4 more times. Although this one already has it connected, so what I'm actually going to do is the inverse. I'm going to go ahead and delete these 3 since this has already got the controller reference in it. And then I can just duplicate this to make that a little bit easier. And this is terrible. And then we'll go ahead and hit play. There we go. Look at that. They've all hidden. You can see they're all oriented as we would expect. And that's fantastic. And we can even run that again, and you'll see them hide into different positions. So we'll go do that one more time and play. There we go. Look at that. So it chose a different 4 positions, and we're on our way. So again, if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. If you got any guys ideas, I encourage you to join our Discord as well. That's where, like, if you're having an issue with this, you could ask a question in our Discord, and we've got a load of amazing community members answering questions there. So I'll leave a link to the Discord down in the description, and we will see you in Horizon. Don't forget to visit the Tomato Galaxy. Bye.